Go ahead.
We call the November Town of St. John Parks and Recreation Advisory Committee meeting to order.
Did we turn on the thingy?
Records on, yeah.
Okay, good. Sorry, just making sure. And all your mics are on too.
Yep.
We'll go ahead and start with the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Barb Tuesley,
Present.
Lauren Sustek,
Present.
Vanessa Merkel,
Present.
Dave Beasold,
Present.
and Mike Moffett.
Present. Number 4, consent to the agenda. Consider approval of Park Advisory Committee meeting minutes from Tuesday, October 25th, 2022.
Barb Tuesley, I make a motion, we accept the minutes as printed.
Got a motion by Barb Tuesley. Do we have a second?
Vanessa Merkel, second for Tuesday.
We have a second by
Vanessa Merkel.
Vanessa Merkel. All in favor signify with an aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. That's carried. Number 5, new and old business items. A, Civic Park Outdoor Backyard 40 by 80 ice rink.
Yeah, so for this one, I know the last meeting, I talked about some of the rules and regulations. So what this is basically is just a rundown of rules and regulations that I just came up with. The rink is actually in. We're going to start putting together next week over at the tennis court over here at Civic Park. But the idea is basically they have it open 10 to 10. There is a light that is going to be installed over here at the basketball court. That's not installed right now, but it will be starting here soon, and there will be a light that will shine towards the tennis court as well. So, as a timer. So my plan was just to program it, just to turn off basically. The park rules have everything from 10 o'clock is when everything ends as far as closing hours and such, but. And then, the rink will just be monitored by myself primarily and stuff, and then open and close as the weather permits and stuff. So probably could have had it open last week when it was 20 degrees and stuff. But anyway, this is just a rundown. I did put some hockey hours in here as well, pretty much at nighttime hours, the late nighttime hours to be used, but primarily it would be open to all residents. Just to skate when the weather allows. I am purchasing some 4x6 horse stall mats as well to put around the rink, for skates, so no damage to their skates or damage to the tennis court, as well and stuff. So, so yeah. So anything else, or I know we talked about hockey a little bit before, whatnot. Any other adjustment to the rules or whatnot?
Are we going to post some rules like on the
Yeah,
fence?
I was going to post them on the fence, and
So that there's
Yeah.
no question about what we're expecting?
yeah, correct. Yeah, all this will be there with the number for the Parks Department, number 911, I know as well. It's nice with fire department and the police, public safety and stuff on the other side as well too. But then this is not supervised, just so everyone understands too. So it's skate at your own risk, and you'll obviously encourage everyone to be respectful and such.
Barb Tuesley, are you going to put that skate at your own risk on the sign?
Yeah, it would be on. Yeah.
You mentioned the lights. Is that like a permanent light for the basketball court? But then they're gonna
Yeah. So this was a few months back that there was a permanent light that was going to go in at the basketball court. They're finally getting to do the installation now and stuff. The permits have already been issued. So we added the light. There'll be one pole, the main light going towards the basketball hoop, but we added a second light off the pole, basically one light to shine just at the tennis court.
You think that'll be enough to play tennis in the fall? And
I think so. Yeah,
I was just curious.
Yes. You can use it in the spring and the summer, fall, and stuff like that too, if needed. The initial idea was because of this ice stuff. Like, now you could use it for to be lighted and stuff. But yes, once springtime comes, you should be able to use it as well. And it'll be a timer, kind of similar to what we have with the dog park. It's on a timer, which I've just figured out yesterday how to set that timer. So right now, since park hours are 10 o'clock, I would just, close it at 10. If we have issues, we can close it earlier. Or if we want to close it earlier, obviously we can, just do it earlier.
What's it gonna cost us to maintain this on a yearly basis? Do you have any idea?
Oh,
Minimal, I mean, past the expense of the actual.
yeah, nothing, I mean, just a little bit of water. I mean, the idea is you put 3 inches, well, no more than 3 inches of water on there. There'll be, the middle should be about 2 inches actually. And the outsides should be closer probably to 6.5, 7 inches because just the slope of the tennis courts.
But I mean, it's gonna be unsupervised. We're not gonna pay someone to open it,
no.
close it.
No, I'm just going to open and
Okay.
close it and stuff like that. So, so nothing with that, and just probably a little bit of water just to like resurface it
Okay.
when it gets cold. And then when it melts, because we'll have warm weather too, it helps because it just kind of resurfaces itself, obviously. So
Snow removal. That's you too?
that would be probably snow. I mean, snow is the worst thing for outdoor rinks. I tell
Yes,
you,
it is.
It damages the whole lot. And my experience with it before with other rinks, we actually purchased a torch and would torch the top of the rink
Right,
to
no.
melt it
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
to reset it in a sense.
Yeah.
And but the snow you got to get off right. Either leave it or you got to get it off right away. So
Barb Tusley, have we notified the insurance, our liability insurance, that we were adding this to our policy? Because it is a liability item.
Mike, when do you expect that to be installed?
I would expect it to, it should be ready to go in December. Historically, as far as back going 5 years and stuff, we don't get necessarily enough frozen weather until January. So I'm not really expecting it to be used until January myself.
Okay, so to Barb's point, let's make sure that, we just have to notify the insurer, Bremen, and let them know that we've added that as an amenity. Our parks and everything are covered by that, so, but we want to make sure that, it's a temporary situation. It's not like a permanent situation, but let's not lose that off our radar.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
Anything else under Civic Park Outdoor Backyard? Next will be B, Park Inventory, Lantern View Park.
Okay, so what you have there in the memo there is, and on the back page is some information on Lantern View Park. If you remember a couple of months ago, I kind of did a park inventory listing all of our 23 parks, 22 with playgrounds. We have about, I think, 5 other open land considered parks as well and stuff like that, but no amenity as far as playground, walking path, et cetera. It's one thing I mentioned at the time too is we should start going through one park at a time, once every year basically, and look at rehabbing, doing what we can, improving on a certain park. Just based on me going through each of the 23 parks, I kind of just put them in order based off of how they looked, basically. And when I say look, I just mean more so like playground equipment look. Lantern View Park was the first one I put on that list. That has a playground, going back and just finding notes about it and stuff, from 1997 and 1998. Purchased around 97, installed in 98. Normal life of a playground is 15 to 20 years normally. So I mean, technically it's well past its due time and stuff like that. What I was going to do and wanted to discuss it and bring it forward and stuff like that is start working with our town engineer, which is Robinson Engineering, and go at each park at a time and start developing plans for that park. Not necessarily, may not, be able to do the work based on what the budget numbers would be and stuff like that, but to start getting a plan together, a full, complete plan on an improvement of a particular park. This is the first one that I chose, obviously. I've first thing we want to do would be look at upgrading the playground equipment. Also, the surfacing, there's wood chips, for example. Town of St. John has been going to pour in place surfacing with majority of their playgrounds. So this would be one to change altogether. Also, there's a lot of open area here at Lantern View Park, and then also it connects from, on the back page, there's 2 examples for, possible walking paths that we can add. Lantern View Park is on a Lantern View Road, and also if you look on the GIS, it also connects to Jennifer Court, and the actual GIS address, I think it's like Jennifer Court, itself. But going through with our engineer, just kind of talking through, and we were just kind of playing around with some ideas. The top one that you would see there is kind of a larger walking path that will encompass the park, which if you look on that top part, the very top of it is actually where the park is at, that green area, again with the playground. The rest of it is just wooded area, but the thinking was you could possibly do some sort of a larger walking path that would connect over by Jennifer Court area. The second one would be just more of a smaller walking path, just kind of encompassing the actual park, more of the usable recreation, areas and whatnot. This is basically kind of a design and a kind of an idea that I would have moving forward with each of the parks. Some of our parks do have walking paths within the parks, which is great. From doing, we haven't done a need assessment here yet and stuff, but just from experience and stuff, I know playgrounds and walking paths are always like the top 2 things that people want for amenities, family amenities, outdoor recreation amenities, and these are just some options that I've been looking at. So ideally, I would work with him, our engineer that we've been working with, and developing a plan for the park, and then kind of figuring out what we can do as far as budget-wise, and figuring out doing the playground first, like for example, or doing the walking path second, for example, and stuff like that, and kind of figuring out, what we can do. But if we don't have a plan for it, and even if there's grants out there too to go after, if we don't have a plan for it, then then we necessarily don't have anything, to continue on with. And this would go down the road, for each park. Ideally, I would like to do, a playground update basically for at least once a year for each park that needs it. So in a sense, you have a 22-year plan, basically where you're updating it. Because at some point, you're going to come to a point where all the, majority of the playgrounds, like for instance, are falling apart. Now the town has upgraded playgrounds. They've added two this year. I know Prairie West was done, I think, in 2019. But we have a lot of older parks that do need some care as we move forward and stuff. So ideally, I was looking just to see your thoughts. One, about this adding additional walking paths, as you kind of see on the back, and developing these plans for for these parks, moving forward.
I definitely think we should move forward with moving to the next phase.
Yeah.
Doing complete fixing, removing, replacing the current play structure with the pour and place surfacing and adding the half-mile walking path, because I think that's going to attract more people there.
Yeah.
And if we're doing a park, I think
Yeah.
you want more people around there just to kind of keep an eye on the park.
Yeah,
And then
sure,
people that are
sure.
exercising, they're going to want to do a half mile. If they could do a half-mile jog instead of 10 times around a little tiny loop,
Yeah.
that would kind of draw them there as a little.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, that would be my.
Because you could even like the the ones here by Jennifer Court. I mean, in a sense, not that it's super far, but they would have to get in their car and go to Lantern View Road over there to get in there. Well, again, not far, but are you really going to do that?
Well, I mean,
No,
that'll
right,
draw people
I mean-
from Fair Oaks, from
Yeah,
Jacobs,
correct.
Christopher, all those
Yeah.
streets.
Yeah.
I mean,
Is the thing that's coming up from the bottom here, and is that the water tower? Or no?
That's a court,
Oh, that's a little court area.
cul-de-sac.
Just
Cul-de-sac,
not
yeah.
exactly sure
Yeah.
where we
Yeah.
are on here. Where is Lantern Drive, actually Lantern Drive on this map at all?
Yeah.
this road here, and it dead ends here.
Yeah, and actually, if you go like a little bit further, Dyer is further up on the page, like just to kind of give you an idea. some of the like property,
Your
dire
line would be where
property.
St. John ends, this would be Dyer. So this is a dead end, this doesn't go any farther north.
Okay, I'm just trying to,
Then this goes back this way, and it goes to Jennifer, whatever it is, that goes to 85th. That's how you get to that side.
Mike, are you looking at a yearly specific budget based on need? Or would you like to have a line item that you would say, hey, we're gonna set aside X amount of dollars based on no grants, just our own assessments of what we need?
Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, light item obviously would be great. I mean, we do have the park improvement stuff for 2023, although, you know, there are various things, you know, being thrown around, you know, with it and stuff. So, you know, this particular year, it may not, you know, work ideally for it and stuff like that. But at least, you know, like I said, having that plan, and then as money comes available, looking, you know, if it's looking for grants or looking for other funds and stuff, we can say, yeah, well, here, we have a project ready to go, in a sense, you know, here we go. But yeah, ideally, I mean, you know, developing something that yearly, hey, we got, you know, let's just say $100,000, for example, for trails, park improvements and stuff like that. Then yeah, okay, then here we go. Then we can you know, do that. You know, and the other nice thing with the plan is you could obviously break it down too. So we can do the trail, for instance, and then do the playground later, or vice versa, or half and half, or something like that.
So it could extend beyond that 1 year time window.
I mean, I guess it could. Ideally, it shouldn't. I wouldn't want it to happen like that, because then the next year would be
But costs could make that prohibitive.
correct. Yes, correct. I mean, in theory too, like you can do, you know, at Lantern View here, like we can do 3 parks, for instance, as a plan, the
Right.
top 3, and then hey, we have 3, you know, engineering plans of say, hey, here's 3 plans that we have, and then decide, you know, well, what could be most cost effective for now, or then, you know, do the top one that we were doing, and then as funds may become available, or if we look for extra, you know, grants or whatnot, then we can say, hey, we have something ready to go. I'm always a big component of trying to have at least something, you know, say we have 3 ready to go, one's being worked on and another one's like on the shelf, and then as, you know, as you're available to do stuff, it's ready to go. It come to, I mean, like I said, in the theory, you can do all 22 if you wanted to, and down the road, 10 years down the road or whatnot, hey, we just, you know, pick it off the shelf and stuff, you know.
I guess my last question would be then, what's the timeline? Would we be able to, based on engineering and everything else, could we see a feasible plan by spring?
Well, yeah, I mean, the idea would be to do this during the winter time.
Right.
You know, in the sense, even I can get like a task list order, you know, from Robinson, like, you know, for example, they would obviously have to go to the council and Joe and stuff like that too. But I can ask them, what would this cost to do this on the back, you know, develop all this. Now the playground itself, I think we can do ourselves. I mean, you know, there's the manufacturer and stuff like that. If we're going to keep it in the same spot, you know, we can just order all the equipment ourselves, save the cost, not have it. They're not going to mark it up, you know, if it's bidded out like that. But to say, okay, here's the task order of this to do park improvements for this. That would include, you know, the design, include bidding documents, you know, everything to get the project ready to go to bid out, you know, and not except with doing the construction, you know, and whatnot. But to do it through the winter into the spring, and ideally would be like late. You know, in a perfect world, if we were going to, you know, bid everything out, you would do it you know, probably in the springtime, do all the pre-construction stuff, late spring into the summer, and then be a summer into fall, you know, type work.
So I guess based on what used to be done and what is going to be done now, then we're looking at a bid, a comprehensive plan set before this committee, a recommendation from this committee only to be then given to the council for approval.
Right.
Okay.
Correct, yes.
So that's the steps.
Well,
Yeah.
what used to be done is we'd make a motion.
Correct.
To look further into it.
Correct.
And then he or whoever would look to see what we have to do to get it. Which, if we need to get an architect, we need to get a whatever, they come back and say it's gonna cost $10 or it's gonna cost $30,000. We're like, well, we can't do that. It was a process. You just have
Gotcha.
we have to move one step to the next.
Sure.
To make sure that we can keep moving or not.
Right. Correct.
That's why I said, my opinion, just let's go to the next step and let's, you know, If it gets to something where like, oh man, it's gonna be $600,000.
Well, yeah,
That's not a
that's-
one-year project, that's gonna be a
Yeah,
3-year project, and
correct.
we even wanna do that.
Correct, yeah. No, yes, I agree. Which I can go back and, you know, talk with the engineer and say, this is what we're thinking, and yeah, move it to the next step, basically. And then going back, you know, and going forth month to month and until we're at that point where, hey, we're ready to go, we can, you know, send it to the council, you know, at that time and then, you know, decide from there. If I'm making sense.
So what type of motion are we looking for on this thing? To proceed with a certain value associated with it?
We don't know that.
No, we don't know the
Just-
yeah.
Basically, what we wanna do is, you know, basically like entertain a motion to move forward with this project, just basically to get it on the books that we wanna keep going with it. They might come next month, we're like, yep, we don't want this. It's just saying that we wanna keep going with it. Otherwise, we could be like, no, we don't want this, forget this. That's what I'm saying, kind of,
Yeah,
just to
just a
keep it
plan.
going.
Okay,
So something along that lines.
okay.
So then I would entertain a motion for us to continue with the assessment, evaluation, and bidding process on Lantern View Park and subsequent other parks for the spring, let's say, of 2023, and wait to hear back from engineering.
We have a motion by Dave Beasled on the floor,
Herb Trusley will second that.
second by Barbara Tusley. All in favor, signify with an aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It's carried. Next item, under 5, letter C, is miscellaneous items.
Yeah, so this one, just kind of how I've done before, it just kind of gives you a little bit of an update of some of the stuff that's been going on, some stuff that we've talked about in the past, and I'll kind of just go through each one and stop me with any questions that you might have and stuff. So over at Founders Park, I mentioned before, the IDNR did their inspection, and they did do a recommendation of installing wing walls at the bridge entrance. And then off the entrance of Parish Avenue, that bridge entrance, I believe, is 90th Avenue. In behind your packet there too, there's a recommendation from the Arch Group, who's been involved. They're the planners who have been involved with Founders Park. This was sent over to the town council as well for a request to repurchase, but you'll see kind of the design of the walls that would be placed on the entrances of the two entrances at the park. This will be pretty much close to finishing up with everything then over at Founders Park as far as the work. The IDNR already okayed everything. They liked everything, how it turned out. So we'll then complete the grant, second half of the grant application. I think the town has 50% left to receive back on. So, but that's just more reference, so you guys are aware of what would be happening.
So that wasn't a part of the original plan?
It was not part of the original plan, no. That was after the IDNR did their inspection after the work was completed. That was their recommendation of adding these walls just so people don't fall. And one off of 90th Avenue, there's a bridge there, and there's a little like small creek. You know, they call it people catchers too and stuff like that. So.
Oh, but from a liability issue,
Yeah.
we're almost forced into doing it just so that we don't have any issues, correct?
Yes, correct. I mean, it doesn't hurt. I mean, it's not going to affect the look of the park or anything like that. It's, you know, it'll hopefully stop any of that people falling into those areas or even just trying to, you know, do any vandalism or whatnot in those areas and such. So. Over at Landermere Park, a couple months ago, had started doing some improvements to that playing surface with the backstop. The playing surface over there was turned over and fixed up a little bit, kind of raised up to a usable recreational standard. They just completed some of that work this week, actually, on Monday and stuff. So feel free to take it out. Over at Hyde Park, the entrance of the park had 13 dead bushes, so that was fixed. Homestead Park and the Civic Park over the T-ball field, we've been working on installing the fence enclosures around the portable restrooms. We have one over at each site. Also, I don't think I put it on here and stuff, but I was planning on submitting, and I do have it in the back of your packet here as well, but there's a quote from Fence Masters and another quote from another company about a T-ball, the Civic Park T-ball, fixing the backstop and fixing the batting cage over at Civic Park. I've kind of gone back and forth and talked with baseball over email about it, and I don't know if you visited, but I know the batting cage is like falling in.
Not good.
Yeah, so these were just some options to do that. I am planning on submitting a purchase request for the December meeting to the town council.
On those proposals, I know Fence Masters had to, just putting a net over the top. Is the other one doing the same thing, or, 'cause I didn't see that in there? Because I mean, some people know, some people don't know what happened. We had a big snow one year, and the kids took it upon themselves to decide to go up there and jump on it and destroy it. They were jumping on top of the batting cages, which caused it all to collapse.
Sure.
So I saw in the Fence Masters where it looks like they're both cutting the top off.
Yeah.
I saw on theirs where they are adding the 7 by 12 by 12 batting cage net attached to the existing fence. I didn't see that on the second one. Making sure.
I'll have to let me double check with them because there are two nets there.
You're gonna want that net.
Yeah.
Well, there are
For
two nets
many
there.
reasons,
And those nets, and from what I thought, I'm talking with, because I was going back and forth with baseball too, they can still use those, they're still usable nets. I was thinking, I wasn't sure. So my plan was actually to use those nets that are currently there, so they wouldn't have to get new ones. Although we can get new ones, just to restart and stuff like that. But basically this would be taking the top off, straightening out the poles, replacing panels if as needed and stuff. And then adding, they're putting the nets in there. There are two there, but then so it's be usable
Right.
and stuff.
Definitely.
So
Those nets removable so that it doesn't happen again, where the kids can get on top? Like, can you take those down at a
Well,
certain time?
if there's no fencing up there, they can't climb it, period.
Okay.
yeah, it's almost like a cage.
Basically, they built a box.
All right.
Yeah.
So you can climb the fence, then you could stand on top of it, because that was a fence. So it was what they call an enclosure, and that's the old school. The new batting cages, actually, there's hardly any fencing at all.
Okay.
It's all those,
Correct.
they actually run cables and stuff, to where they extend the net out. You do whatever batting practices, you can actually close it up to where it closes.
Oh, that's
I mean, that's kind of the newer technology because of the fence is so expensive.
I think kids climbing in it.
Nets aren't cheap either.
No,
No, but they're cheaper than fencing.
yes.
Yeah. So
Now,
I'll reconfirm that.
if they're just putting the same net up, then that's kind of,
But then you would like to see this happen, obviously, before season starts in the spring?
Well, yeah, ideally, yes. I like to if the weather's okay, even the winter. I don't see why they couldn't do it in maybe late December, or January, and stuff like that. 'Cause if it's nice, at least fixing even the T-ball fence too and stuff. That way, it looks nicer overall for everyone and such. But I'll send an update. I'll ask about that one, and then I'll email all you guys.
with these two proposals, are you favoring either one, or are they just there?
Not that much price.
The Fence Master is a little confusing. There's no total on that, right?
The total, no, there's no, the total would just be adding the two together.
Total's like
and
20,000,
stuff.
like
Yeah,
19,899.
they were split. The top one was for the Civic Park batting cage. And if you look on the other one, or I'm sorry, T-ball field. And if you look on the back page, the top one is for the batting cage. And then the bottom one's for the top one's for the T-ball field on both of them. And the second
The 12,000 one is for,
is for the batting cage repair.
so it was like
on both of them.
19,899.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah, yeah.
when I looked, I'm like, man, that's cheap for 12,000, but I'm like, oh wait.
No, that's.
Yeah,
Adding them
that's-
both together,
that's-
right.
Yeah. So they were priced out as separately.
So the other one's a little more expensive.
Yeah.
I know in the past, we have used Fence Master quite a bit at the baseball fields and stuff out there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, me personally, I've used them on my own personal house. I really like Fence Masters.
Sure,
I just
yeah.
want to throw that in there. They've been
Yeah.
very great to deal with.
Yeah. Oh, no, I think they're
fixing
good too,
fences and
yeah.
all. The other one I don't know, so I can't comment either way. I've actually never heard of it. Just
yeah.
my,
Yeah, no, I've worked with them, in other places, and they've been fine too. I have no issue with them. It's just again, just to get another, price-wise and stuff like that, so. But yeah, no, both of them are good. I have no issue with either one of them, personally and stuff.
Yeah, comparing the quotes, though, it looks like SDI doesn't have the nets and Fence Master does have the nets, so
Correct.
perhaps that's.
Yeah,
the
I'll
difference.
There's your
The
difference.
$5,000.
Oh, yeah, there's your difference.
I'll ask them for an update on that and then send it to you guys, and then, so you can see it, and then I'll submit as needed and stuff like that. But, I mean, otherwise, I mean, just talking through it then and stuff, like, would you rather have a new net or just use the nets that are there? Nets that are there have been there for a while, but,
since I've been around these fields, those nets have been there.
yeah.
So I don't know how brittle they are. 'Cause the-
I was thinking just starting over.
It's been my experience, there's about a 10-year life expectancy
Yeah.
with the nylon, because it eventually just, if it's
probably-
left
yeah.
up year-round,
It's probably been a few years, I would
it
imagine.
wears out.
Okay.
That nylon gets brittle.
It's been closed for 4 years.
Right.
Since that's happened, at least 4. Well, I bet it's almost 7 years.
Yeah.
Because I'm trying to think before I went to the high school so it's been not used in that long. You start hitting balls and it's gonna start just disintegrating.
Right.
All right, yeah,
So I
well,
agree with
Right.
maybe starting over.
go for,
If you're
okay.
if you're redoing
Okay.
it,
Not starting over on all this, but.
No, on the
out
net
there.
stuff,
Yes.
yeah. Okay, well, okay.
Clean slate.
Right, that's
All
right.
right, I'll re-update them and then I'll send them off again so you guys can.
I mean, it's a
take
great
look.
idea, great idea.
Okay, let's see here. The ice rink I already kind of mentioned. The park impact fee and the needs assessment study. Those advertisements went out on the 3rd, as we mentioned last meeting. They are being opened at the town meeting tonight. Not awarded or anything like that, just being opened, just so you know.
So Mike, with respect to that, are we reviewing that and then bringing it back to the committee, or are we reviewing it and making recommendation to the town council on that? What was the time frame on it, do you remember?
The
I didn't bring it with me, that's
timeframe-
why I was asking.
The time frame was, I don't
I mean,
remember. I
when
would
you
have
get
to-
a minute, let's, yeah, if it, tomorrow or whatever, just
Yeah.
let me know, because I definitely want to make sure we do review those and begin that process sooner rather than later, so that way at least if we do need
Yeah,
to.
it's listed on there.
Yeah.
I don't remember the dates. It is,
Yeah, 'cause-
after this, I'll look at it.
Yeah, because depending on how many we do have, we can go through those, set up, time to meet with them and
Yeah,
have them come in and do a presentation on that.
yeah, sure.
And then
So,
score
I
'em.
mean, I guess ideally then, after they're read, I mean, I think probably, I would say that maybe we could do it, bring them here for December. The ones that I don't know, maybe the ones that we like, or I guess however you want to look at it exactly and stuff like that, but they can do a presentation with the park board here, advisory committee here, and then we can send a recommendation then to the council.
That would be what I
Or-
think we would like to
That
see,
makes
is
sense,
some
yeah.
kind of recommendation from the committee with
Yeah.
respect to which, particular one we want to use. But I think we need to go through those and make sure that, first of all, they have all the criteria
Yeah,
in there, and then
Correct.
we can, kind of get those scored and then
okay.
brought to the committee and then have them score it as well.
All right, I'll pencil in then, for our December meeting as an agenda item. And then I'll write some stuff up too, hopefully
Yeah.
make a recommendation then.
And then we could just kind of lead the questions for the committee, and then they can do some follow-up questions after
Yeah,
we get done.
correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree with it, that makes sense. So,
Okay.
as long as the timing doesn't cause some great problem with
Yeah.
starting
I just
the
want to make
project.
sure it
Yeah, no,
doesn't, whatever
yeah.
the timeline that was set out in the RFQ, RFP, that we're following that's all.
Yeah,
That's why I
I'm
said,
drawing a
let's
blank
check on that,
it.
because I don't remember.
Yeah, I'm drawing a blank, but okay, yeah, that's I think that's fair though.
All right.
So, impact. Okay. The Heartland Park. I know we're doing the disc golf baskets I was going to work on ordering that stuff now, just so it's in for the springtime, and then obviously doing the concrete work and all that, the permitting process and all that for the spring. But I was going to be doing that. Also, advertisement went out for grass cutting. That's not actually, that one I do know is planned, it should be planned for January, going to the town council. So same thing with the park impact fee then, and the needs assessment study. I'll add it on here too for December. We can take a look. Although, no, sorry, take it back. That's due January 9th, actually. So that wouldn't be to the January meeting for our park meeting, and then we'll give to the council after that.
Yeah, that's fine.
So
We still
that-
got plenty of time for that. so,
Yeah, so, yeah. Okay.
Mike, do we have council approval for the disc golf purchase and moving forward after we recommended it?
I thought we did approve it.
Yeah, I thought we
Yeah.
did too.
We
at
did.
the last
We
council.
recommended it, I just don't
I
know
think
if
it,
you.
was that at the October meeting that it was approved?
Seems like it was a long time ago now.
Yes.
I know it
Meeting,
does.
but
It seems like forever ago.
believe
I
we
mean, we
approved it.
We recommended it at the October meeting, but your guys' town council meeting is directly on the same night.
That's why I'm saying, I
don't
don't
know
know
if
if
it
it
got
ended up on,
expedited that quickly.
if it ended up on the agenda.
For some reason, I thought
Let's
it
follow up with
did.
with
Yeah,
Jen
why
on
don't we
that. Jen was
double-check?
on, she was out during some of that period, so let's follow up with her on that. Make sure, if it has, and then we can put it on the December agenda
Right.
for approval, just to make sure that we don't get that,
Yeah, I don't think it was I don't think it was officially. I don't think it was, no. So I'll do a write-up on it and.
Yeah.
For December and stuff
Yeah.
like that, so.
I thought we had done with you.
Does seem unlikely if you approved it the same day that the board meeting was.
Correct,
right
that it made the
afterwards. That
agenda
seems-
and moved forward
Yeah,
on the
that
same
doesn't
night.
seem-
doubt it went on the agenda.
It
for-
couldn't
yeah.
have.
Under the grass cutting, do we have, like fertilization, all that stuff in there somewhere? That's something we need to,
I just did the grass cutting. I've been, I was gonna do the weed and feed separately,
Later.
basically, and stuff like that.
I was just bringing that
so.
because I didn't see it, I'm like, I don't know that.
Yeah, no, this one was just strictly the lawn grass cutting maintenance, for all the parks, basically, so. And then, I just listed some other potential work happening there soon, just other things I'm working on and stuff like that, so, Heartland Park there's concrete fixes over underneath the bleachers. Lantern View, I put the trees, but that would go within the plan that we just talked about. Heartland Park disc golf, obviously December. We're getting some quotes from the playground mulch for the wood chips that we have. It's certified playground mulch that we need, so I'll be getting that stuff. I mean, that's a pretty pricey thing too, so I'll be gathering information for that. Just some of the portable restroom pads that we've been doing. I've been looking at here on Lake Park, Lake Hills Park, and then the Heartland T-ball. Dog Park, just doing some tree stuff there as well. And then Lake Hills Park did have the slide, what you guys didn't know, was vandalized and destroyed. That has been ordered, so that should be coming in somewhat here, hopefully soon. But the slide is taken down. And then the pier over at Lake Hills Park also has been, there's a few broken boards, there's some missing screws, stuff like that. So I've just been working with an individual just to get some pricing on fixing it, basically, putting it back into place.
One thing you have on there, the Heartland Park T-ball concession restroom pad, can we make that one an enclosure probably? Because that one gets flipped over like once
A
a week.
lot, yeah. No, yeah, yes, all those,
It's just right in the open.
yeah, all those, I do plan on doing an enclosure for all that. I just put
I
the,
was gonna bring that up earlier when you had the
Yeah.
Homestead Acres and Civic Park
Yeah.
enclosures. Maybe put that one up there.
yeah, I'll do that. The concrete, I just been doing first, because that's gotta get in first and stuff, and then the enclosures would be, obviously second and stuff. But yes, I do intend to do that as well.
Children do have fun.
But that one, it's like,
Oh, yeah, it
once
gets
a week,
flipped up
Dave and
a
I were
lot,
out there,
yeah.
whoever was out
Yeah.
there picking it up. Never had anything spill out of it, but it doesn't matter. It's,
I actually put
God
one
for
on
that.
wasn't fun.
my property to do the road construction. And people came and knocked it down. I'd have my lawn people pick it up, and I'm going, really? Really?
And then the last thing I have then on the back page is just Freedom Fest real quick. So they're just this is a revised quote from on the top page there, and then I did reach out to a couple other places to just look for some pricing, just to kind of compare and stuff like that, just so you can see and stuff. Barbara and I did talk about this. We did meet last week a little further, about this. My intentions were to send a request to purchase for the top one here, the marquee rental. That was going to be my recommendation, basically, and request. This is a lower amount than what you guys were looking at originally. We took some of the walls were included in there. Too many of them were included in there, and we took it out basically and stuff. So this is a larger tent as well, as we had talked about. So
It's larger which way though? I'm just trying to.
the other one was 30 by,
30 by
120. So this is 40 by
40.
140.
Yeah,
So a little bit longer and wider.
cheaper from what it looks like.
Okay. Do you wish for us to make a recommendation for you to, I presume we
Uh,
have to
sure.
start signing a contract soon.
Well, yeah, actually, yeah.
To make a recommendation to the council.
Yeah.
that we do this?
What is the damage waiver fee? They both have it. It sounds like
Um,
$900. Is
that-
that like an
it's-
insurance? Or?
It is, it's
Yeah.
exactly what that
Yeah.
is. So if anything happens to the tent,
We're not
they
responsible.
won't hold us responsible.
Right.
Yeah. Wind blows it over, it burns down,
Tornado
whatever.
hits.
Yeah.
I just saw that and I was like,
Substantial, isn't it?
It is,
$857.
Yeah, it's an insurance.
If you charge that 10 times, you got one of them paid for.
Exactly.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
At Barb Tuesday, at this time, I do make a recommendation that we go forward with the marquee quote on signing the contract for the rental of the tent for the Freedom Fest.
We have a motion on the floor by Barbara Tuesley. Do we have a second?
Lauren Sestak will second.
We have a second by Lauren Sustek. All in favor signify with an aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
That's all I have.
Gonna start doing, writing things up.
That's all you have for miscellaneous.
Yes, yes, yes.
Number 6, reports and correspondence. Town manager.
I have nothing, sorry. I have nothing other than to say, happy Thanksgiving to everybody.
The town council liaison, Mr. Ilio.
I was going to say, I'm very thankful for all the hard work everybody's done on the committee. I love the idea of more walking paths in the park and upgrading the parks as we go, so grateful for that. Looking into, having a list of what our needs are, and I think also I really appreciate bringing up, having a structure of how much we're going to spend. I think those are both very important, right? So what is our budget, developing a budget. Other than that, I want to say, happy Thanksgiving. Hope that you guys have a great time with your families over this week.
Advisory committee members. I had 2 little issues, or not issues, whatever.
Comments?
Yes.
Comments?
Is there anything in the works for getting help for Mr. O'Shea in the Parks Department? Like,
I'll let him answer that, yeah.
Yes. Yes.
the reason I brought that up, last week I went by when it was snowing, I saw you out at the dog park.
Yeah.
You're like struggling getting garbage cans.
Yeah, well,
was
somebody
just
called, it
curious,
was,
I know it's a lot
yeah,
of-
no, somebody called, it was overflowing there, and I was going that way because the light over there, so I just went over there and got it while I was there. Yeah, so we are planning on doing a recreation coordinator position that we're going to be, I know it's to go through the salary ordinance, that's starting tonight on it and stuff like that. So once that's approved, then we have the salary ordinance for the recreation coordinator, which is a full-time position. That will help with some programming and stuff, recreation stuff that would need and would be good. And then a part-time specialist position to help as well with everything and such. So, and then, I mean, we have some other stuff as, summer help, or not summer help, I would say, but like summer camp, referees, stuff like that, in there as well. So yeah, we do have a little bit of some help coming.
Mike, would you see that recreational coordinator being a part of this advisory committee?
I would like for them. Now, I wouldn't say necessarily, unless it's something related to to an event or something like that, to be a part of it. Yes.
Well, I mean, at least be here for our actual meetings, because they would be the information center on.
Well, yeah,
these things.
Well, yes, then, yeah, because my intention on it is basically to kind of be one of the main points of programming, basically, of everything, adult, seniors,
Right.
youth, everything, and just like literally throwing stuff at the wall and seeing what sticks and what doesn't and stuff. So, and the events as well too and stuff. So yes, I think being a part of it, correct. Yeah. Unless there's something on here that we like don't have anything in particular on it, then but yeah.
I mean, I think the goal of adding the additional staff is to help build capacity for the Parks and Recreation Department, not necessarily maintenance. I mean, I think the maintenance right now, as it stands, is being handled by Public Works. So anything maintenance-wise would continue to be handled by Public Works Department. While the Parks Department, they want to build capacity for programming, for staffing, for stuff like that, events. So I think that's kind of where you were going with the additional staff members.
Yeah.
Sounds wonderful.
Then the other thing, I was just thinking as we were talking about it, we're talking about the batting cages. Have we ever thought about, now that we're talking about maybe starting over, just how much those new styled,
Oh, I would love to do it. Yeah.
because if it's just like 6 poles.
And it's a
cables
net. You'll take down all of that cage, and
Right.
then
Then-
you just
and
put
I
the
mean,
post-
these- we're at
I think it's
We're at like
I think
15 to
it's a-
20,000 on these bids.
Yeah,
How
I think
much would
it's.
it be to actually get that, then eventually one at Heartland?
I
that
think-
one's just as bad.
It was definitely going to be more, but
It'd be a lot more.
yeah, but at the same time, I think in the long run, I mean, it's going to definitely last a whole lot longer because those nets should come down anyway, right? So
Correct.
and basically then it'll be just the poles where you can walk
Then it's
straight
just the
through
poles,
and
you
stuff
never have to
like
worry
that.
about repairing the
Correct,
fence.
correct. And I know both these companies can do that because actually both those companies did suggest that. It says, why don't you just start over with it? And I'm like, yeah, that's probably best. But
Would it be in our best interest to just have them give us a proposal?
I could do both. Yeah, proposal for both.
I mean, I'd like to
Yeah.
see it on paper, what we're actually talking about, because I agree with Mike. That would be the ultimate,
Yeah.
six poles and a cable and pulley line and be done at the end of the year, wrap it up, throw it in a warehouse somewhere and not
you're
have
good
to
to
worry
go.
about it.
Yeah, because actually, Heartland Park also has a batting cage too, and that roof is also caving in. Yeah, so that's another one. Yeah, this one was the worst one. That's why I just started with this one and stuff like that. But I can get stuff for both. No, and I
Like I
can
said,
send it out and
while
stuff
we were
like that.
talking about it, I'm like,
Yeah,
Great idea.
yeah, yeah.
oh, I have, Dave, you have anything?
The only thing I got is, Mike, really, with this park impact fee, what do you see the best case scenario happening here? I mean, it's been talked about. I know it's gonna be up tonight again for putting out, ideas and bids or whatever, right?
You're talking about like just our income from our department?
Not so much the income, but I mean, are we looking to assess like, building permits? Is that the direction we're going, or is it gonna be both residential and commercial, or what are we thinking?
So when they do the building permit, obviously the park impact fee is paid at the time
Correct.
of that. So that is, we're looking to obviously, continue that practice because it's been around for a number of years. Every 5 years, you have to do a reassessment of that in order to determine what your park impact fees and your needs are for the community. So that's why the needs assessment kind of needs to, get started
works
right
hand in
away.
hand.
And then, yeah.
Sure.
So at least we know what our needs are because I don't, yeah, you can say, well, we need this, and he could say, I need this, and we can all disagree on what we need. But having someone come in and do an objective assessment on what the town actually needs, what the residents are wanting, what's going out on the market right now throughout the entire state, as far as, recreational needs. That's what is going to take place. So then, once we determine what our needs are, then we can determine what our impact fee is gonna look like. Are we gonna have a community/senior center? What's that gonna look like? How much is that gonna cost?
So we have an impact fee on the books currently,
Oh,
correct?
yes.
We do,
Yes.
and collect it for several years. And
Yeah,
it's-
okay.
And it's substantial income for
Yeah,
a year,
yeah.
which I'd caution the committee is going to be sharply cut for next year, sharply cut, right? Because you have building permits are going to be,
Right, so the.
Very
the-
much down
The
next
income,
year.
the income revenue stream
Right,
is
so to be
probably likely going to
cautious.
be, down, I don't know what number, but it's gonna
Right.
be down,
Well,
for sure,
at least 20%.
yeah.
So-
No, okay.
Which is
No, that's all I
significant.
have.
So that's something we need to keep in mind if we ever decide, well, we're gonna build a community center and it's gonna cost, $500, whatever it is, $1 million, whatever the number is. How are we gonna budget that in terms of what our impact fees are looking like? And can that sustain the debt service on the bonds for that, if that's the way we wanna go with it?
Yeah, I say, you know, in carrying over that, thinking or talking about a community center and really, you know, do we need a community center? What does one look like? What does St. John need, right? St. John doesn't need the same type of community center that they need, or do we need one that they have in Highland or some other towns? And, you know, how would you run such a thing? And I'm always fearful of government running anything, because they're the worst. You know, private sector runs things like that, consumer goods better than public sector, almost always. Sometimes not, but almost always. So
You
just to
might
be
remember an ice
well
arena that
think
was
through
built at
this.
one time in St. John if you were here long enough.
Went bankrupt, right?
Yeah.
Can I talk?
Sure.
Now, I know a lot about what's going on, obviously in Sherrville and stuff, and I will tell you that their community center and all of the things that they do pay for everything in the
Right.
town of Sherrville. The building that they have is rented out. I know for a fact that Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, they're having a craft fair. Every Thursday, Wednesday, before I golf on Thursday, they have stuff in their field. They are renting out all of their property continuously to be able to be very successful. But you also need a facility. And as I told Mike, I don't have small children, I don't have any grandchildren, so I was kind of out of the park thing when I came here, not having a need for them. That St. John, you know, actually being the premier place. You look at Channel 5's map for the weather. There's all kind of towns and there's St. John on there. Like I said, I was told I can sell my house in 5 days.
Sure.
Everybody wants to move into St. John. And I would think that when young people especially move into a community, you know, they look at schools and they look at parkland. I know the park on 95th because, on 93rd, because I go down there, is constantly, it's like bulging all the time. And I really feel that if we want to be the premier community that we are, that these are the services that young people want, and we're having a lot of young people in here. And when you have the facilities, you can then have the income that associates with them. So I am, you know, definitely in favor of us considering having facilities that will make us money, as well as to offer, you know, services to those in our community.
Well said.
Yes.
Yeah, well said.
And right now, we're waiting for, it went out to, or it was published, we're waiting for anybody else who might be interested, and then we can have a conversation about.
An assessment, sure.
Yeah, today they're due today to the council.
And I know you're like saying like, we need to move ahead of times, but we're
Well, yeah, I know.
we're like
I
a
know.
steam engine the way we're
But
rolling them in
you
3 new
know,
basketball courts, and we could say everything, the
I was
parks
just,
and
you know,
everyone's done in the past. We are going in a good direction.
yes.
A little bit of a stutter step here where I think we're getting right back on, you know, getting it moving again. So I think we're going in the right direction, definitely.
We're doing so responsibly too, like just
Yes.
not going all in at once, but responsibly taking the steps that we need to get there.
All right. Do you have anything else, Dave?
Nope, I'm good.
Vanessa, do you have anything?
I'm good.
Lauren?
Happy Thanksgiving.
Barbara, do you have anything else?
Nope, happy Thanksgiving also.
Next, public comment. You want to have public comment? Any and all for general order? Entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Dave Beasley with the motion to adjourn. We have a second.
Barb Tusley, second.
Barb Tusley with the second. All in favor to adjourn, signify with an aye.
Aye.
Opposed, is nay.